Colion Noir is an NRA TV host, and he joins us tonight. Mr. Noir, thanks a lot very much for coming on. So I'm starting to get the sense that confiscation, clearly the goal, because there's no other goal that makes sense. You can't, if there are tens of millions of so-called assault rifles in circulation, and many tens of millions of these so-called high-capacity magazines, you're never going to solve the problem that the left believes is responsible for gun violence unless you take those away, right?
It's the only logical conclusion. Because if you think about it, if you start with gun control based around the idea of restricting or taking something away, if we got rid of, let's say we got rid of the AR-15s, they account for less than 3% of gun deaths in this country. Right. So let's say we get an assault weapons ban, right? At that point, all right, let's say another shooting happens like the one we just had recently in California where he used a handgun. Then they'll be telling us, you know what, that didn't work, so now we need to do something more strict, which is ban firearms. So inevitably, it's always a race to total and complete confiscation, but they never want to admit that. They want to act like they're being reasonable and say, no. We just want to get rid of the big scary guns. But it's like, the big scary guns aren't the problem. They account for less than 3% of gun deaths. But 80% of gun deaths in this country are committed by way of handguns. So if you honestly believe that the tool is the issue, why aren't you addressing the handguns?
Well, that's a very smart point, and one that I plan to bring up next time we speak to someone on the other side. But my question's even broader than that. Why, in a chaotic and increasingly chaotic world, the one that we live in, would you want to disarm normal law-abiding people? What threat do they pose?
I think there are two different dynamics going on here. I think there's one dynamic which is composed of people who are just generally ignorant about firearms. And then I think there's another dynamic of people who are generally have an agenda to gain more control and to push the idea of reliance on government. And it sounds conspiratorial, but it's not. Because if I'm self-reliant in my ability to protect myself, my natural inclination is not to depend on the government to be there when something goes wrong. Right. And you can't push the necessity of government if you have a populace of people who understand and embrace the idea of self-reliance, especially when it comes to protecting your life and your family. And so the people on the side of the... Go ahead.
No, I was just complimenting the point. It's deep. So what you're saying is that many people on the periphery of the conversation just haven't really thought about it, but the people who driving the conversation who have thought about it do have an agenda.
Absolutely. Huh. It's one of those things where... Go ahead, sorry.
No, that's it. I'm just impressed. I hope you'll come back and join us again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks. Real quick before you go, I want to talk about the guide I put together titled, If I Could Carry Only One Gun. In this guide, I talk about which gun that would be and the reasons why. So be sure to click the link in this video to download your free copy today. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'm Colion Noir, and I'm out.